In this lesson, we're going to see how standard form, slope-intercept form, and point-slope form are all really the same equation. So what I want to point out to you are some things that you really need to know by heart. And that is standard form is ax plus by equals c. This form isn't very useful. The only thing it helps us is to find the x and the y intercept. So something that you may want to keep in mind is when you think of x-intercept, that means we're looking for x and y has to be 0. When we're looking for y-intercept, that's where we're looking for y and 0 has to be, x has to be 0. So whenever we're using standard form, the most helpful thing with standard form is to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept. That's why I put that there. So you need to memorize that the x-intercept is x is some number when y is 0, and the y-intercept is when y is some number and x is 0. Slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. Slope is our m, and intercept is our b. That's why it's called slope-intercept form, because looking at the form, I know right away what my slope is, and I know right away what my y-intercept is. Point-slope form. So with point-slope, we have a point, some point, maybe more than one point, but we have at least one point, and we have the slope. So when I'm looking at my formula, my equation, there's my point, there's my x1, y1, and there's my slope. Now, equation of a slope is not the equation of a line. It's only the slope. So I need to remember how to do this algebraically, where I have 2 points. So notice my y's are together on the top and my x's are together on the bottom. So in order for this to be useful, I have to have at least 2 points. I have to have an x1, y1, and I have to have an x2, y2. Okay? So these are my points right here. Okay, so let's look at the problem that we have at hand. Our problem that we have at hand is that we're given simply 2 points, and we want to write the equation of the line in all 3 forms. So I could graph this and then try to figure it out, but then I would have a very difficult time with trying to figure out what my standard form is. So let me figure out what it is that I need to know. So I know that one of the easiest points or forms is usually slope-intercept or point-slope. The problem here is I do not have a y-intercept. I have 2 points, which means that I can find the slope. So let's go ahead. We have to find the slope first. So I'm going to find the slope, and my slope is m equals, well, let's label these. Let's label this. This is going to be x1, this is y1. This is x2, this is y2. So let's see, I'm going to do y2 minus y1. So y2 is, 16 minus y1, which is a minus 23. So a lot of students make a mistake here. They believe this minus is a part of this formula, and it's not. So that's all divided by x2 minus x1, which would be 2 minus, what is x1? Minus 11. So what I encourage you to do is when you see 2 minuses together, a minus minus, simply write over it like this. That becomes one big plus. So that means then that I have 16 plus 23, which gives me 39. And then I have 2 plus 11, which gives me 13. So now I can simplify this. So I'll simply do 39 divided by 13, and I get 3. So that means that my slope is 3. Always make sure that you can simplify your fraction, because you don't want to be dealing with some crazy number like that. So now I'm going to write over here that my slope equals 3. So I have a slope, but I don't have my y-intercept. What else do I have? Well, I have 2 points. I can pick either point. It doesn't matter. However, I'm going to choose to pick this point because both points are positive, and then I don't have to worry about messing up. So I can't use standard form because I don't have a slope. I can't use slope-intercept because I don't know what my intercept is. But what do I have? I have a point and I have a slope. So I can use a point-slope form. So that means I'm going to use this form of a line. So let's go ahead and write point-slope form. So right here I'm going to write point-slope form. Okay? So let's see, what would that be? So that's going to be y minus y1, and y1, in this case we're using y2, so it doesn't really matter, which is 16, is equal to, well, what's our slope? Our slope was 3 times x minus, well, what's x1? It has to be the x that goes with the 16, which is the 2. Okay, so that is, I've just written it in point-slope form. I don't need to do any more with that. I could use these as well. It would just give me, it would just look a little different. So let's just go ahead and put those in. So it could be or, so you could actually have it in 2 different ways. Y minus, well, what is my y1? My y1 is minus 23. And that equals my slope. My slope is still 3. Just notice I made this in orange. I'm going to change it to black. And then I have x minus, well, what is my x1? My x1 is minus 11. Okay? So remember, whenever you see a minus minus, minus times a minus is a plus. So these 2 equations are exactly the same. So then the next thing we need to do is we need to either put it in standard form or we need to put it into slope-intercept form. So just looking at this, it's probably easier to put it into slope-intercept form. So let's write slope-intercept form. Okay. So that needs to look like y equals mx plus b. Well, we don't have the y by itself, and we have our x in the parentheses, is grouped together. So it would seem to me, let's rewrite this, y minus 16 is equal to 3 times x minus 2, that we just need to simplify. So we're going to simplify the right side by multiplying in that 3. So I have y minus 16 is equal to 3x minus 6, because 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. It looks like I'm almost at y equals mx plus b. So now I just need to add 16 to both sides of my equation, my equal sign, and I get y is equal to 3x plus 10. Okay, so I told you that this equation and this equation are the same. So let's see if I'm telling the truth. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do this like little squiggly line down here, because we're going to look at this side, and it should come out to y equals 3x plus 10, unless I somehow made a mistake. Okay, so I'm going to copy this down. Y plus 23 is equal to 3 times x plus 11. Same sort of thing happens. I need to simplify the right side. So I'm going to multiply that in like that. And then I get y plus 23 is equal to 3x plus 33, because 3 times 11 is 33. I want to get y by itself, so I'm going to subtract 23 from each side, and I get y equals 3x plus 10. So you can see this equation and this equation are the same exact equation. They're both y equals 3x plus 10. Okay, so we did point slope form, slope intercept form, so the last one we need to do is standard form. So let's look at standard form. And standard form is ax plus by equals c. So when we look at our slope-intercept form, we see that our y is all by itself on the other side of the equal sign from our x term. When we look at standard form, our x and our y are both on the same side. So that means I need to get my 3x over to where my y is. So I'm just going to copy this down. Y equals 3x plus 10. So if I want to get this 3 over to this side, I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides of the equation. And then I have negative 3x plus y equals 10. So then that's my standard form. So from 2 points, I was able to get my slope, my point slope form, my slope intercept form, and my standard form. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to graph this. So typically we just graph on a 10 by 10 frame. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move my notebook over to the side, and I'm going to create my XY axis. So I'm going to have 10 up, so that's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And because my y-axis goes forever, let me find where that 0 is. So this is 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So my x-axis is this way. So I'm going to go 10 one way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And 10 the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I might be off a little bit. My eyes got lost. Okay. So there's a couple ways that we can graph this. Remember I said we could graph using the points, but the problem is the points that I had were off this graph, because my points were negative 11, negative 23, which is somewhere way off the screen, okay? But I do have the equation y equals 3x plus 10. So when I'm graphing, where I want to start is I want to start here. That's my y-intercept. So that's my y-intercept. So remember, when I'm talking about y-intercept, I have 0 for x because I'm looking for y. So that means my y-intercept is 0, 10. So x is 0 here, everywhere, up until I need to go up to where y is 10. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which is right here. So that right there is my y-intercept. So why don't I just go ahead and mark that, because that's one thing that I need to do. That right there is my y-intercept, and it is a point 0, 10. Okay? So I need to graph the line. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my slope. And I know that my slope is 3. Well, when we're thinking about writing slope from a graph, I want to think rise over run. So 3 is my rise. 3 divided by 1 is still 3, so 1 is my run. Remember that rise is up or down and run is left or right. So my slope can be 3 over 1, or, I'm going to write it in green over here, or my slope can be -3 over -1, because -3 divided by -1 is still 3. So I haven't changed the value of the slope. So in order to do the line, I have to start at my y-intercept. I can't go up 3 because I have nowhere to go. So now I'm going to go down 3, left 1. So that's how I would read this. It's going to be down 3, left 1. Okay? So I'm going to go down 3. 1, 2, 3, left 1. 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 Okay, and I'm off the graph. Now I'm going to take a straight edge. Because I have points in between that are also a solution. So where is my x-intercept? Well, my x-intercept is right here. So I'm going to write x-intercept. The problem with this x-intercept is I can't tell exactly where that value is. So if you remember, I wrote the form of the line in standard form. So let's do that. Let's write down the standard form of the line. Do you remember what it was? It was -3x plus y equals 10. Okay, so if I'm looking for my x-intercept, I think x-intercept is where I'm looking for some value of x when y is 0. So that means my y becomes a 0. So that means I have -3x plus 0 equals 10. -3x equals 10. Divide both sides of my equation by -3, and I get x is equal to -10 thirds. Okay? So that's what that number is right there. If you were to get this in decimal form, that's going to be -3.333 repeating. So I might just write down approximately -3.33 repeating. But this is what I want. I want it as a fraction. So I'm going to write my x-intercept as -10 thirds, and my y is 0. So you can't always eyeball it.